Yes, greetings and the best of salutations. I just want to express myself. I realize that there are uh, a position, I should say, of three core values. One is opportunity, and when I mean core, I mean centering. You get to the core or the root cause of any problem, and I think it was Einstein who said that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So, in my three core values, first one, as I stated earlier, was opportunity. And opportunity is a direct correlation of ownership. And many will and have to accept it or reject it, must own up to the consequences of one's actions. And in the writing is ancients will associate with that called reciprocity, or what you sow, you should reap. And uh, some would associate that with, or I associate that with a term called citicism. And that's also associated with moral cultural decline. That is also associated with lack of accountability. So, if anything, for me, in this and consolidating in the period sense of when it comes to being associated with the lack of accountability, it's like some will call it missing the mark, and in the religious sense, they call it, in the Christian sense, they call it sin, lack of a lack of accountability, and that's what many are being are being deprived of. And in this lack of accountability, as I say about the core values, and I know I started off with opportunity, and I was going on and looking at the connections of that which is associated up to this point in my language, because anytime I try to present something, I always try to make a case. Yes. And anytime I use a language that is a foundational stone, be clear with this, is that I am making an argument in support of my case in which I am making. And and in that case, the that which is I am addressing, or any address that is giving, it is giving to address, or the address is to the aspirations of the people. Because when inspiration goes down, aspiration goes up. Now, how did I come up with this? I came up with this due to regards of 1954 Brown versus Board of Education decision here in America when it comes to education. Now we know historically that people of a darker hue, people called black, and even though black is just an idea, it's not a fact when it's applied to people. So it's white. Black represents potential, It's potential in science, it's potential. And white is clarity, it's clear. So when science and matter come together, it sends a message of transformation. Yes. And that is a renewing of your mind. So in that regards about the Brown versus for Education decision, uh, I realized that adequate cooperation leads to proper communication. That's how you effectively coordinate your power. Because we're talking about aspirations, of course, yes. I lost my train of thought for a minute. But yeah, addressing one's aspiration. It must be suited for one's aspiration. Because remember, you first must have adequate tools, adequate things to work with. And then when you have adequate things to work with, you can properly go about, doing what needs to be done to be effective. Because a master is a master because he or she is proficient in what he or she does. So we're talking about getting back to one's aspirations and ownership. One of the core values, ownership. And getting back to really associated with one's original nature. And Einstein said no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. And out of understanding comes consciousness. So when you have understanding, and when you have balance, understanding speaks clearly. So we're dealing with these substantiating this lack of accountability. And this lack of accountability, have to deal with one's attitude about a thing. The attitude that you have about yourself or another person or about something. And we have to have the right attitude. Because remember, anyone that will enslave a people in their thinking, and what is being enslaved is really one's original nature, and the creation of one's original nature is one of nobility and is one of dignity. Yes. Yes, that's one's original nature. And one of the original natures is to live in harmony with that nature of dignity and nobility. That's a serious piece when you see how many of people in society, and I'm not saying people, and not excluding myself, including I, have deviated from that. So I come in the spirit of cooperation. Leadership for me is coordination. And I speak from the authority of resiliency because resiliency is the author of success. Now, the next core value in which one speaks from, which core value that I do have is not only opportunity, but then there is expression. Because everybody have need for self-expression. All you have to do is look at the nature within itself. It is expressing itself. Yes. Look at the constellation of the stars and everything, the moon. It is a form of expression. It is expressing itself. And in that expressing itself, we can see something that leads to the next core value is appreciation. When a child comes into this world, must be appreciation for that life. So it's appreciation for life. So anything that is created, it is created not only success, but it's a creation for appreciation for its life. So when one life has been taken away from him or her prematurely, that's not appreciation for life because we have the wrong perspective, the wrong attitude when it comes to life, the appreciation for life, the opportunity that is given to us in the manner as it pertains to expressing ourselves in appreciation for this life, in appreciation for all existence. And we have to deal with what they call some people say that all life consists of plants and animal life. Yes. It is the interaction that is taking place with this, the opportunity with this appreciation. And what has happened is this is a form of what is happening. It takes on a form of what is called a process of of, uh, of of creative powers of one's creativity. And one's creativity, once you come in the understanding of this knowledge, and once it is applied, it becomes intelligence. Yes. Because intelligence is a life force. And we deal with intelligence. Intelligence really is something that is very thoughtful. Yes, intelligence is something that is very thoughtful. It is a product of being considerate. It is a product of being thoughtful. Because all true knowledge comes through doing. Because you apply it. If you like to look at a diamond, you apply pressure to the diamond and you get the dross off the gold. You see what I'm saying? You're applying pressure. But laws of physics says that even if you got enough steam in a pot that you're cooking, it only can take for so much pressure, so much heat in the pot, and it only can take so much pressure, and you have to release the steam from or take the pot off the steam just a little bit to release that pressure. So that's how it is even in us, in the passions that we have for one another as pertains to male and female. It's pressure. It's a releasing of something. Because anything that is in us needs to be released because it needs to be free. So we talk about freeing the dome, freeing our thinking. Because I know even in my upbringing that we have to go through a debriefing process. That's the point. I have to go through a debriefing process. I know in my upbringing, I know I was taught just to be respectful. To be respectful. And in the system, society and educational system, which is compulsory, it gets to a point where it's that, it doesn't necessarily teach you to be, have respect for yourself. And that's something that you should learn from at home. But respect for those who are in a position of authority. But in that position of authority, they're misusing that authority to make you to become their subjects and their slave. And the only thing that which I come to conclude that many of people in society are subjected to, and you can look at it from a scientific point of view, if I take it, it's subject to matter. Because once again, when matter and energy come together, it sends a message of transformation. So any message that is given, it should be not only a message of vitality, because when you go to the doctor want to know your vital signs. But it's a message also when energy and matter come together, the science says that it's transformation. It's a constantly being renewing of our mind. So it also applies to our thinking. To our thinking. There is no way in the society in which we live, which is abundance. This is abundance. The trees, as you see in the trees in the background. You look at the abundance of the space, the air. You look at this is abundance. But yet someone came up with a philosophy, an ideology, when it comes to this monetary system, when it comes to greenbacks, to control the means of productivity, and said that the Native Americans always that the land cannot be bought or sold in African literature, that it should be benefit for the people, that someone has monopolized and manipulated the thought process and the thinking of the masses of the people. So therefore, it puts us at odds with one another. Because things become so scarce. And why do things become scarce in that which is when we live in the abundance? Is we're here to share and coexist with each other. Maybe we need to learn something from other species or animals when they know the importance of sharing one with another. Because humans must continue, and I don't know if we have gone as far as we can go when it comes to technology. I don't know if this is as far as we can go when it comes to this revolutionary or information age, all this information, but yet lesser transformation, whereas that we're still underdeveloped in our human intellect. That we can act very hostile and very violent toward each other. Because if we had not learned to reason from the premise of conversation, and somehow or another, people are becoming more and more intellectual prostitution or intellectual prostitution. Yes, intellectual prostitutes. Yes, they're using their intellect The intellect is being prostituted. And once one's intellect is being prostituted, of course, it is selling itself for some material gain. And therefore, not recognizing or realizing or don't even care that material wealth can debase you as well. So we've been on, many of society has been on the path to being about that which is popular. As a brother, Dr. King says that I'm not a searcher of the consensus. I'm the molder of consensus. The consensus. People in the society in which we live is tired of being the economic base for somebody else's social status. Once again, people are tired of being the economic base for somebody else's social status. There's much work need to be done when it comes to human development and when it comes to the salvation, the human salvation of the soul. Because the soul is not satisfied. The soul would never be satisfied. It sends a requisition to the mind. It says it's not satisfied. Because what is needed in a society is what is called balance. Once I said, when you have balance, understanding speaks clearly. And when you know that there is clarity, something must be clean. And when there is clean and there is clarity, there is no distortion. Nor is there any extortion, the misuse of authority. Yes. Bob Marley also made that clear. Yes. So I say, in this wise, as it pertains to this point of expression, when you see the same problem that is continuing to exist, you're dealing with the same level of consciousness. Because the problem still exists. Whatever we want to say, if we get to the root cause of the problem, I'm saying is that mind manipulation, thought control, and many problems, many people are suffering from an identity crisis, living phony lives and having phony identities, and not knowing even when they go to institutions, they are not, that the institutions, really, a truly educated person has the responsibility to teach. One, to have affection for discipline. But I'm saying that when you go and say, I want to be this, I want to be that. But no, it is about teaching the people the importance of dignity and nobility. And anytime you give a word, the word that must be given is a word of integrity. And any message that is given, it is a message of vitality. And any position that one speaks from, the authority of which one speaks from, is the result of resiliency. How could I prove it? I can prove it again from a scientific point. Anything that when we came out of the conception of the womb is so resilient that it gets right back into shape. And that's what I'm talking about. And if you look at nature, if you look at nature within itself, nature always gets right back into the balance. Because Chica Diop says once you throw off the ecology of the environment, you throw off the one's intellectual aptitude for learning. But there must be a balance. Nature will always balance itself out. You got to be careful what he or she puts out. You may not like how it returns. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening in society today. If you look at anything, drug, anything you want to call it, it's trying to figure out a way in the wrong way to compensate. And they become very obsessive with compensating their original nature when it comes to balance, when it comes to dignity, when it comes to nobility, when it comes to peace, when it comes to order, and when it comes to harmony, trying to get back to the original nature of their essence, or the source of that. So therefore, there is a mission, and that mission is to promote the value of self-worth. Because when you have self-worth and you know your worth, and worth is in degrees, not in the value. And I say degrees of maturity, understanding, tolerance, temperance, confidence, and respect. They were the five senses. And when you deal with the value, when people have more control of their lives, they spend less time devaluing others. And I say promote the value of self-worth. And the motto is to communicate with precision a clearer image to the world. And what is the mandate? The mandate is to cultivate the light of knowledge that is in us all. And remember, knowledge applied becomes intelligence. So we must continue to develop the intellect, our intellect, in the best way. So what is the struggle? Is it progress versus regress? Is it ideal versus the tension between what is ideal and what is real? That is the tension that we have. The ideal and the real. That's the tension. So what is real? Says perception. It's not reality. It's on its way to reality. And I keep saying we live in a simulated reality. It's not our own. It's a reality that's been given to us by a conjuncturer, a master magician. And a master magician will never let you know his tricks. There was something that was shared about a promise that can be made through a people. But that which is made through you can be for another people. Because that was made through you. You dropped the ball. You didn't fulfill it. So therefore, that which was made through you, or that which can be given to you, and we know that it can be taken from you. If you don't live life the way it should be lived when it comes to protecting and valuing and being a good steward of this life existence, which has been given to us. What a beautiful gift, ain't it? As you see the smile, as you see the hand, you see the gesture, you see the air, the air that we breathe. It's a gift. Yes. And that's why they call it a present, because we're living in the present. It's a gift. So I say, in closing, in this wise, it's that this socio-economic fortress that we are dealing with, that has recruited people to be on its side. It stems from the source of one's thinking. And whereas it makes one feel inferior and another feel superior, it stems from the source of one's thinking. And knowing that superiority is something in the metaphysical, biblical dictionary represents something that is pleasant, friendly. We all were created supreme. What distinguishes us from each other is either the use or the misuse, not only of our faculties, but of our physical abilities. We rather be at odds with one another rather than in cooperation. But yet there can be a small group of people, as it was written in the Scramble for Africa in the 1800s. The French, the British, the Germans. I can't recall, was the United States involved with it or not? I can't recall. But the point that I'm making, this is the point. I don't have no monopoly on intelligence. But listen, that all this is ours. So there's no need for us to fight amongst each other because it's enough for us. And that's how it is in this creation. It's enough. So I realized that the purpose of a square is not to take more than what is needed. And the only disease I realized, if I may use it, a dis-ease, which brings about a dis-ease that cannot be cured. It is called greed. This life existence in which we live is all about trial and error. And trial and error leads to personal discovery. And you know what the Masons use. They use a trial. Common humanity mission. Promoting the value of self-worth. Our mandate is to cultivate the light of knowledge that is in each and every one of us. Our motto is to communicate with precision a clearer image to the world. Reverend Wally Moore Kevin, the teachers are teachers, the preachers are preachers. When it comes to reverence from the heart, give to the gift of social literacy. As I always say, may we be granted success for our labor and joy for our sorrow. Until next time, talk to you.